Good morning, everyone. I like to start things on time so that we have a lot of opportunity to have discussion at the end with those of you in the audience. So I'm going to kick things off here. Welcome. My name is Patty Bruns. I am the Secretary General of the Arctic Mayors Forum, and it is indeed my pleasure to have been asked by the organizers to facilitate and moderate this panel. Our panel session is called A Joint Northern Agenda for Growth, Security, and Cooperation for Finland, Sweden, and Norway? ? And we're going to talk about Finland's Northern Agenda as a case. The organizers are the cities of Luleå, Oulu, Tromsø, and the regions of Norrbotten, Oulu, and Troms County. So it's no surprise to any of you, if you've been here for more than a half a day, to know that we talk a lot about Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the new security situation it has created for northern Finland, Sweden, and Norway. Finland's membership in NATO has strengthened its geopolitical role, requiring a new approach to formulating the policy agenda for the North. The situation will be further confirmed when Sweden joins NATO in hopefully the very near future. Through the initiative Northern Agenda, the northernmost regions and stakeholders in Finland created a process in which strategic issues related to security, growth, and cooperation in the Arctic region were put on the agenda nationally, in the Nordic context, and also in the international realm. The Northern Agenda is on one hand a tool for enhancing investments in infrastructure, securing fundamental supplies, and at the same time stimulating growth. This is fundamental for the region, including fields of energy, tourism, and relevant industries. Investments in the North are being seen in the interest of the nation and of the citizens of the North. The Northern Agenda stimulates and creates new opportunities for people and communities of the North by combining civil and defense needs and perspectives of securing the European Arctic. We have a very esteemed panel today, but first we are going to have a presentation on the Northern Agenda. So I would like to introduce to the stage now Juuso Rönnholm. Juuso is the Public Affairs Manager for Business Oulu. Juuso, the stage is yours.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Patty, for introducing me. And thank you for being here, and thank you for this opportunity to discuss and tell about our Northern Agenda, which is a joint project for Northern Finland organizations. And my name is Juuso Rönnholm, and I'm working in the Business Oulu, and my job is speak for the North and meet decision makers and do public affairs activities for investments and better connectivity, for instance, for North. But now I'm telling about the Northern Agenda, what we have done together, and what is the status of our Northern Agenda today. Few words about the city of Oulu, and we are fifth biggest city in Finland. And actually, if you look at if you don't look at the capital area, we are third biggest city in Finland, and a major city in the northern area, and also big university city. A lot of ICT companies and other big companies on the area. So we have a, I would say, important role in the northern area, and that's why we are one of the key players on the area. Of course, in a good cooperation with the region and other cities, but because we are the biggest city, we have resources and so on, and that's why we are so much involved in this Northern Agenda. We had parliamentary elections in Finland last spring, and in about a year and a half ago, we made a decision with our neighbors, neighbor cities and regions on the area that we should have one message on the parliamentary elections from the north to the capital in Finland, and for the media and for all people, and also political parties on the area were part of this process, and leading politicians were involved. We did together, but we had this one joint message. North is important nowadays, very important, and Finland government should put on this kind of Northern program, Northern Agenda, because of secure welfare and boost investments and to bring more security to the whole region. And if you look at the map, that's the reason why we should make a very strong cooperation. Area is big, but the population is quite small if you compare the whole Finnish population. So it's a lot of easier to speak in one voice and do activities together, and the message should be quite clear and quite easy to repeat. And of course, we have also not so much resources than other areas in Finland, so that's why cooperation also very vital. And we said that, and this is a very common situation in Finland, and sorry for that, but we have some problems in our economy, have been several years already, and we said that we need more productivity and investments for Finland and security, and we have some answers on that from the north. So there is a huge need for answers. And our main message under the Northern Programme was that our geopolitical status has changed, and we have very much tools to get more growth by using these benefits what we have in North. And we need strategic cooperation between states, Norway and Sweden and Finland. And we are willing to help on that, and we are doing a lot of cooperation, as we can see here in Tromsø, together with the cities on the area and the regions. But the big decisions must be made with the states, and we are some kind of forerunner on that. And of course, this all would support investments and security. And there you can see the main themes on the big headline, Northern Agenda. And these are very much discussed here in Tromsø in these days also. And for some example, energy issues are very important. We have a lot of new energy coming to North, and it helps investments. And also we point at that the cities and other players on the area have the role that the area is good to live, and we need people to stay on the North, and we need new people coming in, more babies, more immigrants to area, that there is people who can do the job, and it's also a geopolitical issue that the North is populated. But the big question is why North is important and why we need this kind of Northern Agenda. And we focused mostly on that. We want to present why this kind of Northern Agenda, Northern Programme should be a part of a new government's program in Finland. And we didn't talk so much about single investments or single railroads or roads or things like that, but we want to draw the picture why North is important to Finland and whole Europe, I may say. First of all, there are a lot of investments coming on, and it's not working so well. Now it's working, but very good that you could wait. And these numbers are from a study of Lapland Chamber of Commerce, and these are real numbers. Most of these projects are going on, and most of and others are on the planning table, but they're going forward. So the investment plans are huge. And the second theme was energy shift and green transition. For example, in our region, we have a lot of wind power and more coming, and also in northern Sweden and other areas, there is a lot of water power, and also we have plans in Finland to get more nuclear power for the economy and so on. But the north is very important energy source now and coming years. And the second theme is geopolitics and security. Now we are all, hopefully very soon, Sweden also in NATO, and that changed a lot of things in many fields. Now we are in the same alliance. We can prepare things in infrastructure, in economy, security, and so on. And we can speak loud what we are planning. And I may say that when we were not in NATO, we couldn't tell about those plans straight, and it was not so easy to prepare and do things together with, especially with Norway, in my opinion, because we are not in NATO. But now we are, and it's very important, and we should do cooperation to get more investments on infrastructure in the NATO side, and also in the EU fund for this project. And if we look at in the Finland's perspective, it is good to know that we are in the island, and if you see the Baltic Sea, and almost 95% of our foreign trade is going through the Baltic Sea by the ships. And if something happens on the Baltic Sea, it has not had to be a act of war, something, some kind of except some kind of mine can go away, or ship collapse, and in one night it could be closed, so our foreign trade would be closed. And actually we don't have roads or railroads to go to Atlantic Sea, and we have a different truck weight between Sweden and Finland. Of course, we have truck going from Tornio to Luleå region and to Narvik, but it's a gap. You must change the train nowadays. So it's something what should be solved, and we need, in our opinion, more railroads and good roads on the area because of the Finland security, because of the whole north security. It's important for Sweden and Norway also that Finland's security is secured in every situation. And it will also bring more investments if we have good connections and we could have alternative connections for Baltic Sea. It would improve investments. Big companies, it would be easier to invest, that they know that in every situation they could brought their products for sea in Atlantic area, for example. And in the Sälen security conference in January, the Swedish Navy commander said that it would be only a matter of time that something bad will happen in Baltic Sea, and she talked about the same situation as I did earlier, and the threats are very here at the moment. But this is also an opportunity to get more investment, could get more jobs, and get more connectivity between the states on the north. And if something is between the states and in the high level, this could be there. And we on the area could only support that process. And the fourth and the last theme was Nordic cooperation in the north. And as we look from the Finland side, it's so much concrete this cooperation in the north between Sweden and Norway and Finland, between the regions and cities and so on. And it should be pushed forward, and it should be also done with the governments. And as I said earlier, one cooperation field could be NATO and EU tables to get more funding for infrastructure, for example. And so we didn't ask straightly for money, and in our opinion, we had solutions and positive message. After all, the situation is critical, and there's a threat of war and everything. But after all, our message was positive: more investments, more cooperation, more good things to all in the area and the whole Europe. And the whole North was behind it. And as I mentioned, all the politicians and all the political parties on the North were supporting this agenda. And I may say that it was not important who would be elected to government. I was pretty sure that in every case we had good cards to play with every parties on the government, whatever there would be and be elected in the leading Finland. And we did quite a lot media work and communications, and we had some reports and some reviews. And this is actually a headline of our main newspaper in Finland, Helsingin Sanomat, which was they had their editor, the main article on the front page after the election when the new government was formalized. And they said that the map turned around and the north is a new south in Finland because of these things why north is so important. So it was very good message in the right time, and it was not so common that from Helsinki they write things like that. And every party leader was also invited to Oulu, and we have a panel and we discuss about these issues, and we get some promises and support before elections already. So this was very important thing. And the goal realized, and we have this kind of sentence in the new government's program, which was established in June last year, and we are very happy about that. And there was also some examples that the northern themes were very in good point on the government's program in other places also. We have some infrastructure project coming up for North to support the agenda, but we need, of course, more. And what next? I would say that finally we are going forward. Last Friday we got the press release that the government will start the Northern program, and there are all main ministries involved in this program, and the letters were sent it to area, and it's very important. I'm very happy about that the northern area is very strictly involved in this process. There will be a working group with the ministries and all the regions, Lapland, Oulu region, Kainuu Liitto, and so on. They are going to participate writing the program. And then we have advisory board, where is they're sitting all major cities from the area, all the regions, universities, business organizations from the north. And this job will start in coming month. And this is very, very important. And we hope that this is some kind of tool with what will boost the cooperation with the northern Norway and Sweden with the government, and we will do this in Finland, but the aim is to push this over the borders, I would say. Yes, so here we're standing now, and for the last slide, I would say that we must remember that the Northern Agenda is not the target, it's a tool. Target is somewhere else, and it's also a tool to make cooperation in the North Finland. It has been very nice to see that we all speak the same voice, and we had ideas, and we talk about them, and we do very much cooperation, and the teams is very helpful on that cooperation, because the distances are quite long in the north. And now the job starts and the real work starts, I think, and we are very well prepared on that. So thank you, and we will continue discussion, I guess.
Thank you very much. I just need some technical support to get some chairs on the stage. So, yes, there we go. We're just going to get things set up here, and then I'm going to call the rest of the panelists to the stage. So just 1 second. Okay, I'm going to start. Juuso, you can come back up on the stage, Juuso. And joining Juuso will be Mari Siljebråten, the chair of the Committee for Transport in Troms County Council from Norway. Glenn Bergård, vice chair of the Executive Committee, Norrbotten region. So maybe I'll just get you guys to come straight down. That's perfect. If you can come here, Glenn. Gunnar Wilhelmsen, the mayor of Tromsø and also the chair of the Arctic Mayors Forum. Karina Semelli, the mayor of Luleå. And Essa Alto, the vice chair of the executive committee for the Oulu region. Do we not have enough chairs? We'll ask Arctic Frontiers to fix that for us. One more. Essa needs to come on the stage. So, while we're getting sorted out, have a seat, everyone. Thank you. Essa will get you a chair. Sorry about that. While we're waiting for that, Juuso, I just want to turn to you. Thank you for the presentation. It was really impressive, very inspiring. I did want to just pick up on some next steps and also ask you a little bit about how the Northern Agenda was first received in Helsinki, and did you run up against any question marks on faces, and how did you sort of overcome that? Yes.
Thank you for question. And of course, it was not easy, because the attitude was what you want for South, I would say, and this of course a little bit I would say rush start, but when we talk about the positive things what we are having, and this is a project together for whole Finland, the situation changed. But of course we had to figure out how we will tell about this in the first hand to people in Helsinki or in other places. But the main thing that was that we had solutions for problems that Finland was ahead. But it was not easy task, and we did it together. Our main politicians and major and our region leaders and so on did it And we, as officers, were behind and supported that work.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm going to turn now and start our panel discussion, but please start thinking about some questions. We will have some audience discussion in a little while. But first, I'm going to turn to Mari and Glenn. Mari, is the Northern Agenda a blueprint for Northern Norway and Sweden to promote the national agenda here in the North?
Yes and no, but I think mostly it's a supplement. Because Northern agendas are not new. In Norway, we've had a Northern agenda for more than 20 years. But I think we have new possibilities now to sort of connect them. We should have a common Northern agenda, I think, and we're in the position to do that more than ever, I think. So I don't think it's like a blueprint, but I think the new geopolitical and security situation will fuel all the Nordic agendas. So we have to sort of use the possibilities we have now, because it is important nationally that we have a common agenda in the North, and also with the NATO membership. A lot of possibilities when it comes to that, but the situation is also that we can't not do anything. We can't not have a Northern policies and Northern agendas. So it was a really good presentation. So looking forward to see how it evolves.
Glenn, same question for you. How is Sweden looking at this approach of sort of a Northern agenda created for the North by the North?
I think it's good that Finland is highlighting the Arctic issues in this Northern agenda, and I think it would be of importance also to highlight the Arctic issues in Sweden. We don't have any minister living in the northern half of Sweden, so we think that there's huge unawareness of the situation and what's going on. We hear about huge private investments, but the municipalities and the regions are struggling with finances to keep the welfare for already existing citizens, and we need a lot of people to move to our region. And we think a similar approach, and also I'm impressed by that the Arctic agenda is managed by the Prime Minister's office. I think a similar approach could be of importance to make the government aware of what is actually going on, and also not just in our region, but also in Norway and Finland, because I think that there are huge similarities between our regions that the governments are not aware of in our countries. There are also differences from our regions compared to southern parts of the countries that should be highlighted. I mean, there are language differences, and there are 89 millimeters of rail gauge difference, at least between two countries, but that's something that we probably can manage somehow. So I'm looking forward to some interest in the Arctic issue from the Swedish government as well.
Yeah. That's really interesting about that none of your ministers live in the northern half of Sweden. And that there needs to be more investment. I noted that you did not primarily ask for money in the Northern Agenda approach. So hopefully we can circle back on that. But I wanted to bring in actually Carina, who does live in the northern part of Sweden. Carina is the mayor of Luleå. So Carina, according to a survey by the Lapland Chamber of Commerce, northern Sweden, Norway, and Finland have almost 200 billion. I believe the slide actually said 187 billion euros of planned investment in green transition. This, coupled with NATO accession, is putting additional pressures on resources in the north of Sweden. Can you provide a snapshot for us of what really the pressing needs are that you see in the north?
Well, it's actually everything at once right now. Just as everyone has been talking about, it's a lot going on, especially with the NATO membership. We have not been that concerned about the east-west communications in the north. They have been cute like maybe we can go visit each other, but it hasn't been crucial for anyone that it's been working. And right now, as my friends in Ola often say, they are an island if the Baltic Sea is off. They will depend upon communications to Sweden and Norway to have a normal life, and especially in a crisis situation. So we need to prepare for that, and then it's crucial all of a sudden. At the same time, we have major investments in a green industry that wants to make investments in making green steel, green fertilizers, battery industries, green mining, and many other investments in our area. And for that, we need infrastructure, we need railroad, we need ports, we need more schools, we need more people, we need more wind production, we need more grids, we need a regulation of a hydrogen pipes that we don't have. So to make this possible, we need to do everything very, very fast. And as a municipality and also a region, we're involved in basically every of these processes. But we are the same people working as we were before. So, and at the same time, we know that one of the biggest questions for us is getting people moving up there, because we already have low unemployment rates. So we need people to move up to be able to take the new jobs, but also take the existing jobs, because we also have an elderly population and more people going into retirement in the coming years. So we need people moving in, and as a municipality, I can't slow down anything. I need the culture house to work. I need more schools. I need to start an English-speaking schools in the same budget as the existing schools has to continue to be good. I need to make more investments in culture, in leisure, at the same time that we need to do everything else at once. And also in Sweden, the municipality makes the planning process, land planning, and that means that every single investment, no matter if it's the port or it's an industry, it's the railroad, we need to plan how this should be used with the same persons as before. Right. So we are under pressure, I would say. And at the same time, I say we do not have problems. We actually think that we are one of the solutions of the climate changes. And we really, really, really want this to success, and we want to be a part of the solution. So we are like putting an effort in, we will not fail. This will be a success, but we are working very hard to create that.
Yeah, that go mindset, I really appreciate that. I think you really raise here that huge investments also have to come with social innovations, and that they need to be weaved together. And Luleå is sort of a medium-sized city, and in a pan-Arctic context, some much smaller and some much larger. But I would imagine that the smaller communities in northern Sweden, who are also facing these same rapid pace, must have to even think more about how to couple this investment plus social innovation. So we're going to come back to that. But Gunnar, are we seeing the same challenges in Tromsø with regards to what the challenges are? Are they the same, or are they different here in northern Norway?
Yes, we have a lot of challenges because you have a new geopolitical situation. I feel the war in Europe. As a Russian neighbor, especially in the northern part of Norway, not in Oslo, but in the northern part of Norway. That's a big challenge. And I like the presentation you saw very much, because you have a lot of municipality together. You are organized more than 700,000 inhabitants. And I thought when you have your presentation, I thought, should we have the same presentation in Sweden, Finland, and Norway? How are we going to organize the security? How are we going to organize to cooperation? Because the new geopolitical situation gets some opportunities. Because now we have, on Monday I had the lunch with the Nordic Council of Ministers in Tromsø. Her name was Karen Ellemann. Mm-hmm. And they are going to see up north now. And they are organized, all the ministers, without war. They have nothing but war and military. But the rest, they have cooperate in the Nordic. And we have 4 possibilities in northern part of Northern. It is Arctic 5, which is 5 universities. It is Arctic Maids Forum, which have members in Norway, Sweden, and Finland, together 12, I think, 12 members. And now we have NATO and the military and the security. And also the cooperation between the civilians and the military for security is going to be big. And last, business to business, because earlier Norway had looked south-north or north-south. Now, after Arctic Maids Forum and after the new geopolitical situation, we're going to talk much more with East-West. So I think it's a lot of opportunities, but it's a difficult situation, and I think we have to cooperate even more than we have done before.
And the great thing is that we do have some more mechanisms now to do that, so that's great. Essa, I'm going to come to you in just a minute, but Mari, I know you wanted to jump in.
I just want to say that this is also for. I mean, I want to say to Gunnar and Karina. Yeah, from the northern, your cooperation as mayors of huge, huge. That is the matter of the eye who sees, but of northern cities. That is very important because we need people like you to speak up and tell the story about how it is to live here. And a lot of the issues that we have, a lot of the difficulties we meet in the north are common between Norway, Sweden, and Finland. So we need the creative processes, and this Finnish Northern Agenda is a possibility to be more creative together. But I know that you guys have been for a while already and are well organized. But you so said that the agenda is a tool. But what is the target of the tool? And I think that's the main issue. The target of the tool is developing the northern regions in Sweden, Finland, and Norway to ensure security. I think that's our main goal.
That's perfect, and actually a perfect lead into my question for Essa, which is the Northern Agenda a useful tool to make sure that we're addressing the issues like transportation, infrastructure, and really securing the safety of our citizens to avoid duplication of efforts and the efficient use of resources? So it's about that tool question. Is it a useful tool?
Yes. It's a useful tool because it's like it combines these different targets what we need here, and of course it gives us new opportunities for cooperation with our neighbors, and of course we have a bit like a challenge how to get the southern areas to understand the big picture here in the north, and I guess this Northern Agenda it will help because it's like telling people what are those the most important issues that we need to take into account when we are like investing and planning what to do in the north.
I'm going to go to you. So it really seems to me like it's almost like a dual use tool. It's to help bring in awareness from the south, but also facilitate that north or that east to west cooperation. So Juuso, maybe you can jump in.
Yes, thank you. And I think the Northern Agenda would be a tool for get more sustainable investments, to make easier to invest in the area, sustainability, and to get more security and the presence of military forces on the area in a good way, and most of all to get more people on the area, and that people in the area had good lives in the area, and that comes to the communications. And I think that also the Northern Agenda, Northern Program in Finland is a tool for communicate a positive message from the north, that there is happening a lot positive things. This is not something that is going to sleep or something, and this is not only for a good place for tourists, this is also a good place for live everyday life. and let's do to get people here and stay here.
Karina, over to you.
I must say, I've heard about Northern Agenda many times, and I'm very impressed because you're doing it together. And when I look at the challenges we have, the solutions are often not in our own organizations. We need to talk to others early about what we see to understand the whole picture. And that is basically what I see that you have been doing. You've been talking people living in the North, being active in the North in different organizations, and form a common agenda. And then the government is behind it. And if I look at Sweden, we're doing it the other way around, because the Swedish government, actually, the ones with no one living in the North, they decided a year ago, they announced that they would make a Northern Agenda. Since that, I've been in one meeting with them. So I think someone is writing an agenda for me, not with me. And maybe if I'm lucky, they will solve my problems, or maybe they will like what they think is helping us. And I hate that approach, when you think that you know someone else's problem, and it's a little bit like, oh, I will help you, little friend. And that's basically how Northern Sweden has been looked upon. Like the poor people up there that in the waste area where people in the 70s, when the forestries went down, had to move away from. And right now we know that we're a living, thriving society with great opportunities, and we don't want help. We want them to join us, like doing something better. But right now the situation is that we do not have an agenda for Sweden, and the ones who we will have, but I'm not a part of bringing it up. So I must say that I hope that we can work more in the same way in defining our own problems in Northern Sweden together with the region and other partners.
Glenn, did you want to
Yes.
support that position?
Yeah, I support that, of course. And I think it's good also to try to, at least as we collaborate in between the regions, we also have to find other allies or partners to work together with. For instance, Region Norrbotten and other regions along the Baltic Sea is a member of Baltic Sea Commission, and we have a task force for Arctic issues, and we're going to have a meeting in the Finnish Parliament in April to meet parliamentarians to present the Arctic issue, and we hope that we also can arrange a similar meeting in the Swedish Parliament also during the spring to make sure that we really raise the Arctic issue from the regions and municipal perspective, together with other regions that are across the Baltic. So we have to find allies and friends all over Europe.
Yeah. I'm going to go totally off book because I have a question in my own mind. How do we get in the North the feedback after that meeting from you? So what are the mechanisms that we should be tapping into to make sure that the information that you get from your meetings with the Swedish Parliament are then fed back into some of the cooperation mechanisms that we have in the North? Maybe that's too technical question. I'm wondering if is it Arctic Mayors Forum? Is it the Nordic Council of Ministers? Is it through the regional? Is it through Mari? Is it through Gunnar? How do we make sure that when we get this information from the South and we bring it up north, that we're sharing it across ourselves in an efficient way so that it can be an iterative process and not a duplicative one? I think Gunnar has the answer. So
I'm not sure of that. Not sure of that, but I was in Bodø in November, I think, in a conference. I don't remember the name of the conference. Dialogue Up North or something. High North Dialogue. And then I met the ambassador from Finland. And before he went to Oslo, he stayed in Paris. And before that, he was an advisor for a Finnish president.
Chief of Cabinet.
Chief of Cabinet, yes. And he told me that before Finland went into NATO, they discussed how they're going to arrange the security up north. So when the war starts against Ukraine, Finland has a plan. They have discussed a plan, and therefore I think that's your agenda for the North is easy to present it for your government, because they have that discussion, not not for the media or for people, but they have a plan. And you saw in Finland also, and under the COVID, Finland was the best in Europe, prepared to the COVID. So I'm sure that your presentation, how we're going to organize, I think we need the top leader of the universities, business, and the military, and Arctic Base Forum. Have a meeting and discuss how we're going to organize it in our country, up to my government and your government. Because when you talk about the train to Norway, I love it. And I think the train goes to Kolari, no?
Maybe Kolari is one option.
Yeah. So, and that's not for, it's for security. It's for security, you discuss that now. And I think that sort of cooperation with Norway, Sweden and Finland, go from Finland to Norway, to Narvik, to Sweden. That's security for the future. And that sort of cooperation will be a lot of business, because we can do business with each other. So I think we have that for, and maybe the Nordic Council of Ministers organize that.
Thanks. The second part of our conversation, I was supposed to say, we're going to talk about governance now, but we've actually transitioned into this very naturally. So, Mari, did you want to come in on this sort of reorientation of governance, and in light of all of these geopolitical situation and also the need for sustainable economic development?
Yes, please. And I was thinking now that me and Gunnar have actually packed strategically packed in Juuso here, because Gunnar mentions Kolari. Go for Kolari. Yes. Gunnar and I agree on that. He didn't say it, but I will. But when it comes to, I think we need to find a common sort of feeling of responsibility towards each other in the North. I think that is a very important thing. And infrastructure and transportation is a very good example where we should find a common ground and feel a common responsibility towards each other. Glenn mentioned the Baltic Sea, or was it you, Juuso? But it's been mentioned many times during Arctic Frontiers. If there are issues in the Baltic Sea, what alternatives do Finland and Sweden have? That alternative goes via Norway, and perhaps via Kolari. So we need to sort of figure out these common responsibilities when it comes to, for example, infrastructure, but also when it comes to population decline, lack of growth, a lot of these issues. But when it comes to governance, because we've been talking a bit about it, I think representation is a very important issue. Glenn mentioned it, and so did Karina. There are no ministers from the north of Finland, north of Sweden, in the national government. And there are one in Norway. Of course, we have people working in the government and with the government, but how do you apply the perspectives from the north in the Northern Agenda and in the work for development of the north if you don't have those voices and perspectives? And it's also a question about legitimacy. Does the people of the North feel that the national governments represent their perspectives and want to ensure their development? That is a very important issue that I think we can sort of challenge the basis or future of governance on. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for that. The speakers list is Karina, Essa, and then Juuso. So Karina.
And now I'm like, should I say what I thought, or should I respond to you? But I can start with responding that is one of the difficult things, and that's basically what I do every day, try to tell the national level in Sweden what is going on. And they usually understand and are impressed, but they understand this much, and then they start thinking maybe they should do something. And well, in my way, the scope is this big, and they need to take these steps, and they take these steps. So they are not against what's going on. They like it. When the Swedish has the presidency in the European Union last spring, the first meeting was in Kiruna, and then they had a big TTC meeting with the Blinkens from the States, and then they went to Luleå. So when the Swedish government wanted to show the best things in their presidency, they went to northern Sweden. So yes, but since they are not represented, we need to tell them all the time what is going on and why and what we need. And I think they actually listen, but the steps they are taking are too slow for what we need. But I actually, when I raised my hand, it was about the co-planning together, because our systems today are national agencies planning our infrastructure, our transportation infrastructure, and we are dependent upon each other, and we will be more dependent upon each other. And in another geopolitical situation, this is coming up. It's probably always been like this, but right now we are actually seeing it. Everyone is seeing it. And then we have to make the planning in the other direction. And that is difficult, especially then in the north, because we do not have a majority in the parliament. We have no one in the government. So it's not that easy to say, well, maybe we should put a little bit more money up in the north. And that is a challenge. But I also we've been talking about the transportation system, the electricity. I mean, we are a big producer of electricity in northern Sweden. We will use much, much more. Finland and Norway, you are actually buying electricity from our surplus today. You will be affected, not in 15 years, like in 2 years, and your prices will be affected. Maybe we should talk about this together and make a plan about how we should solve this together, because otherwise you will have problems because I have success. And that's not like building a big, greater northern Sweden or northern Norway or northern Finland, and it's definitely not creating a good cooperation.
We will definitely not be happy if we have to do Arctic Frontiers by candlelight in 3 years. So let's work together.
That's when I'll challenge the Arctic capital.
Essa, over to you.
Thank you. Actually, I had a comment to those railway lines, and like if it's a security issue to have a railway from Finland to railway connection from Finland to Atlantic Ocean. And yes, we have a railway to Kolari nowadays, but actually Kolari railway is well connected to Russian railway network, because we have like practically same railway track width as Russians, and we have cross-border railways to Russians, I think, at least in 4 places from Finland. So I'm not sure, do you want in Norway to be connected to Russian network in this security situation, or would it be better than if we were connected to Western railway network in Finland? We already have a railway to Narvik, from Narvik to Boden and Haparanda, and even to Tornio, but then not further to Finland. And to continue this European railway network to Finland and to build a double track to Narvik, because now we have only one track, and when there's one train that fails, we have no tracks.
Right. And that's how
And
trains work.
that's a problem. So I think this is the thing we should plan together. What's the best way to solve this that gives the biggest benefits to all our areas? And then what comes to this electricity, we know this in Finland, and we have huge plans for wind power in Finland. I guess we have even several times more than you have in Sweden. And we have new Aurora line that's connects more our electricity networks in northern and southern Finland, and in northern Finland and northern Sweden. Yes, and in the future we will. Now we have been buying a lot of electricity from Sweden, but actually last year we were in balance in Finland. We were selling and buying the same amount of electricity. And in the future, I don't know whether it will turn that we are selling electricity to Swedes, and then other days we are buying it. But well, anyway, this is another issue. We should like more like plan together that where to produce electricity and how to use it, and it should also be connected to this kind of traffic networks. That how we like. Transport things and transport electricity, transport materials. The whole issue should be like solved together with the northern countries.
Thanks. Juuso.
Yes, thank you. And about the railroads, and I would like to point out that it's more than a security issue. It's also about the investments, and that has been our second main message, that this is very good thing, because this unites investments and security needs, and that's why it is so important to Finland and other countries as well. And this should be done in somehow, maybe through Volari or but there are good options. But the track weight is a very serious problem, as Esa told. It should be solved. I think there should be some solutions, but these all things should be considered at once. What are the ports, what are the railroads, roads, and how we manage the different rail tracks problem. And this planning should be done together by transport ministers from each countries. And about the cooperation, I would say that for another point of view, we talk about cooperation between the cities and regions on the area, and I think that we should share information more together, especially about investments and economic interests. What plans we have, what knowledge we have, together with the business organizations from the area, and maybe we should meet once a month with some kind of structure and share information. And one example more, that we do cooperation in Finland with the North partners also in other fields than outside the Northern program. For example, we have now in the Finland start industrial program led by the government and the Ministry of Economics. And we are writing now the joint statement for that program for the North. And this is one example that we should cooperate in different fields, although the subjects is quite same as in Northern Agenda. Thank you.
I'm going to go to Glenn and then Mari, and then I'm going to turn to the audience for our first question. So great discussion amongst our panelists. Go ahead, Glenn.
Thank you. I think it's of importance that we share each other's stories to make sure that we tell the same story to the national level. So we have to exchange and meet and exchange ideas and the story about the importance of, for instance, infrastructure investments, and not just what it might mean for industries and enterprises, but also the importance for our population and the importance for the region in total. Because by sharing and telling the same story, the voice will increase. So, and I think it's of importance that we meet, for me, within the regions, because then we can really make sure that we are telling the same. But I think also sometimes we should also have the national level also participating in those meetings, so that they can actually hear that we agree, which is also of importance. So actually participating in meetings. So we have to find ways of meeting both without the governmental level, but also with the governmental level.
Yeah. Mari.
Oh, I love that. I do. And I think also we need to think collectively, not just when it comes to different issues that we want to solve, but also how can we communicate our unity on the things that we are unified in. And I think just as much as real corporations, if you want to like have common projects and planning on, for instance, infrastructure, which is important to all of us. I think as well, what's important from the north, both to those we are kind of organizing against in some ways, but also to our national governments. I think it's a strong signal to show unity in the north. That is something we should build further on. And we are signalizing, I think, if we manage to cooperate better, stability, friendship, but also that we take national security responsibility, because we also have to define ourselves in that context, of national security. When we want, thank you, Patty. When we want to develop our infrastructure, for instance, that is a national issue as well. There's a reason why we want to do that. Of course, we want to have better mobility across borders and in the regions, but it's also important because we live in the north and we see what kind of security issues, especially the last couple of years, we actually have. And we also have, that's my last thing, but we also have in the north a common political responsibility to be stable. That's a national interest that the north is politically stabilized. And cooperation and contact and common projects and planning, that is stabilizing the north.
Thank you for that. That's a really great point and a really good point of departure for any first questions from the audience. Yeah, we're going to have to share a microphone with the audience now. So, in the spirit of cooperation and friendship, please say your name and your question.
Yes, my name is Mona Halvari. I'm from the Finnmark County Council. We have had the past 3.5 years. We had a project integrating the local SMEs, small medium enterprises, and giving them a greater chance delivering towards the defense sector. Thank you for a very interesting presentation and discussion. And to Finland in the middle, don't remember your name, you speak of tools and targets. And how to incorporate the local, regional, and national levels for cooperation, and also the civils. But how do you see it possible to also closely integrate the local SMEs in the solution?
That's a great question. I think Juuso is well placed to answer it.
Yes, thank you. This is a very important point. And in our Northern Finland cooperation, there is entrepreneurship organizations are involved, and also Chamber of Commerces are involved. And we are talk with them that they will collect ideas and ideas from the SMCs and all business sector. And of course, Business Oulu support that work very, very much. But SMEs are a very important sector at that point. And our idea is that we have these kind of organizations involved, like universities and University of Applied Sciences and regions and some cities and those business organizations, that they will discuss with their members and will bring their voice to our work, and we will bring it forward. That is our thought about that.
Thanks for that. Karina?
And for us, when we have like these huge investments, it's very, very important for us that our local companies will grow in this, because we see a big interest in companies coming to northern Sweden, coming to Luleå, and they are, of course, welcome, especially with their money. But still, we want the companies that are already in the city, in the region, to be able to grow with this. And that is not easy, I must say. So we do try to build an infrastructure so that they can grow, and often have like educations. Right now we have an education about the leadership, how you as an employer has to be working, otherwise you won't have anyone to employ because they will go to the other ones. How can you renew your business when a lot is going on about sustainability? These huge companies are coming in with new sustainability measurements, which these small companies can't work with because they've never done that. So we're trying to like educate them, have team building, and building an infrastructure so that they can learn what they need to learn to grow. Last week we had a breakfast with our companies about how to get finance. We know that we have a good structure when you go from like 1 person to 5 persons, but when you go from 50 persons to 70 persons, we have not enough money. So there are not that many companies. They will either move out of the region or be sold to someone else. And we want them to be able to grow within their organization. So then we had a lot of investors on the breakfast. So we are trying to like build structures so that they can grow, because we want them to grow. And we want some of them not to be SMEs anymore, but big companies. But we want new companies. And I've never met a company that started as a big company. They always start as a small company, and we have to help them, the ones who want to grow.
That's great. And I know this is a Nordic discussion, but I think that there's also a pan-Arctic perspective here where we could learn a lot of lessons from Canada, which has really huge companies or very, very small companies, and also Alaska. And I know we have some American colleagues in the audience here today that can maybe jump in the discussion. Is there another question from the audience? A couple, that's great. We'll take this gentleman at the back, and then we'll come here to the front. Please state your name as well.
Yeah, my name is Stein Store. I come from the Troms County Council. I used to work 12 years at KSAT, and we had quite a huge Finnish delegation there some years ago. And actually, there came business out of it. So we had contracts for the IT programmers from the Oulu region, and we also got a cooperation with more centrally based companies. So that was a great experience. And I said the Finnish companies are doers. And they do what they say, and they don't talk too much. So that's good. Thank
you. Thank you for that comment and kind of boost to the Finns for not talking too much. Over here, we have a question.
Thank you. My name is Jenny Spring. In regard to business development across the borders in the Barents region, in Norway we now have a quite good financial mechanism for example, Norwegian companies to cooperate with Finland and Sweden. But do you have similar funding options in Finland and Sweden, so businesses could cooperate with companies located in Norway? Because to get the funding in Norway, you need to have 30% contribution from the Finnish or the Swedish part. So to be able to give them the funding opportunity to collaborate across the borders, to make their businesses and their region grow, we need that money in Finland and Sweden as well.
Absolutely, that's a great question that I'd love to hear some answers to, if anyone has some answers.
Thank you. Good question, but maybe I'm not the right person to answer correctly in every aspect. But I would say that there are some tools to finance, and in Business Oulu we have a foreign trade unit, and we have some tools. But I'm not part of it, so I'm not. If there's someone who can tell more, please do that. But there are some tools. But I think that, in my perspective, the problem is that how we encourage for example, Finnish companies to go Norway or Sweden, and it's not easy always. but we have some tools we can make some market analysis or some kind of studies what is happening there.
Interesting. Karina?
I think maybe they discussed that in Nordic Council ministers. I think that, but that's a very important question, because when we talk about doing business with this, it's important that we have the same tools.
And yes, we do. We as a municipality, we actually have a lot of money that we can use to support projects across border, but also within Sweden. So we have that for the university, for companies, for organizations to apply for, like some free money, because we often need to co-finance the funding, especially the European funding. So we have that, and I know that the region has it at all also. So we're trying to find, but often you need an organization outside of us to be the partner who applies for the money. And that can definitely grow.
Let's bring that mic all the way back here to Glenn.
Yeah, the region also has money for co-financing Interreg projects, for instance, which companies can apply for. And we also has money to co-finance investments in companies within the region as well. And all those staff working with companies also travel around and meet a lot of companies in the region to gather the knowledge and the interest they have in collaboration also across the borders.
Thanks for that. Are there any other questions? If not, I have one. Okay, I'll give you guys some time to think about what else you might want to ask. But we've talked a lot about investment and security mechanisms, but I want to actually talk a little bit more about the importance of culture in this conversation. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody from Buda here today. They're trying to stay with their feet on the ground. The wind is so strong. But on Saturday, they will launch their Buda 2024, the European Capital of Culture. And Oulu will be have that same title in 2026. And I see it on the slides, I see it on your shirt, Essa. And I'm just wondering, maybe we could have a round about the role of culture and planning things across borders to help market the North with a cohesive voice. And what role does that actually play? Mari, you want to jump in right away? Go ahead. Okay. It's a fight for the mic. That's a good question when that happens.
Okay. Now, I think it's of huge importance to actually invest in culture. It's investing in people. And without culture, it will just be a work camp, and that's not what we're interested in. And so actually, our region is now spending more money on culture this year and also in the plans for next year, of course. And we also have experiences in the 70s when also our region was of interest, because there was supposed to be investment in a huge steel plant, and there were investments also in other areas in the region. The establishment of the first regional theater in Luleå actually was attractive for competence and people moving to the region. So we think it's of importance to actually finance culture, because it's an investment.
Go ahead, Marie.
Yeah, even though Bodø is not here, and Bodø and Tromsø often have a regional battle, we are all in Troms County and also Tromsø very happy that Bodø is the cultural capital, and that we have two major cities in the north that are cultural flagships of Europe the next years. That is something we have to embrace. And we also have a political policy in Troms County this term, that it's a goal that big things should be able to happen on small places and in small communities, culture-wise, because it's about the proudness of who we are and all our culture, and we have to be willing to spend money on culture and identity and, yeah, everything that comes with it to create full lives and proud northern communities. That is a strength.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I think same too, absolutely. And the culture and northern meanings is one part of our northern program, and it's very important part of that. And I would say that culture is also security policy, if I may say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But because it helps people stay here and everything about that. But one point of view in this cultural discussion is that it will boost tourism to area also. Investments on the culture and festivals and happenings will boost tourism. And that will bring more flights to area. And this one example is Finnair flight from Rovaniemi to Tromsø. And it's because of international tourism. Is there any ways how we could boost those kind of routes inside the northern area and get benefit about the international tourism, and then we could also use them by ourselves, because maybe our own travel is not enough, but with the international tourism we could get flights in this area.
That would be great.
Culture and sport is very easy and very important to start the cooperation with, always. And for us in 2026 we have the European Youth Capital. So we're going to use a lot of time on the youth. Not only that year, but we have done that for many years. And we was in Brussels and get the 2026 for youth. That was important because it's easier for us to develop more culture and more interesting of climate change and more interesting to build the northern part of Nordic. So the youth and culture and sport is very important to cooperate with.
During this conference, the European Commission launched their new program, the Arctic Urban Regional Cooperation, and we are a part of that. One of the priorities for Luleå to be a part of that is to work with the attraction of our society, and we actually two cities we want to look at and two issues we want to look at is just the culture, and then we know that Oulu is doing a great job there, and it's a vivid city where you want to go to create culture, to live, but also to experience culture as a tourist. So that is something that we know that Oulu is good at, and we want to look what they're doing. And one of the other issues that we want to look at, that's the youth, because we do not have enough youth moving into Luleå, and the ones who are moving in are moving out. And then we know that Tromsø is like the best in Europe doing this. So we are very, very inspired when we come here to visit Tvibit and see how you work with young people and get them to be a part of the society. Because what we know is that you do not only move to a job or to your studies, you move to a lifestyle. How do you want to live? What should you be doing in your daytime and your nighttime? And it's often about being able to see culture and leisure, to have friends who are interested in the same thing. And then you need to focus on that. So that is one of our priorities. We need to work much more with culture and with youth. And then it's good to have good friends to learn from. Then we don't have to make everything as beginners.
Yes, I would also add nature, the northern nature to culture and sports, which makes our areas attractive for young people. For example, Oulu area, we are getting plenty of students, foreign students, to our university. But how to keep them in the area and to get them have families and to keep them in the area and make them employers to our companies. And the capital of culture is very important to our area, and I guess one reason we got it is that we needed it most in Finnish bigger cities, because like we are a bit behind in culture if we compare cities in Finland, but now Oulu is coming, and we are, I think, Oulu is doing good job, and of course our whole area is together doing this capital of culture, but of course we cannot have big theaters or other big infrastructure in every town in our region, but we have other things, and I think we should invest even more, and I hope that this is like we say cultural climate change, and I think this is very important. We should really change our cultural climate, and we should more have a more understand the importance of culture of the whole area, how we then like in our growth and so okay.
Thank you, Esa. I have time for one more question from the audience. Yes.
Yes, this is more about business culture. I've been in the private. I said my name earlier.
Yes, you did.
So I guess it's okay.
It hasn't changed. As long as it hasn't changed, then we're good.
So. And I've been doing business both within the space industry and working for Kongsberg Defence and Aerospace, and also within the private consultancy and also in banking. And we tried to do business, and this is about business culture, and I don't know how to put this, but I'm not a politician, so what the heck, I can probably say it. It was much easier to get cooperation with the Finns. I don't know why. There's probably several reasons for it than the Swedes. The Swedes we tended to compete with. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the country size or the culture, but in Troms and Finnmark we have a lot of Finnish speakers living here. So maybe some of the Finnish culture has seeped through, in a way of doing things, and so cooperation with Finnish business, private business, is easy, and there's not too much talk, and they're doers, and it's really good. So, but the Swedes more hierarchical, more formal, more this and that, and it takes time. And we tried for decades to get, especially within the space industry, to get a cooperation, but we ended up competing like hell. Yeah.
Is there a cultural climate change between Norway and Sweden? Is that the next frontier of cultural climate change?
Well, I definitely think that we have different cultures, and we do like work in different ways, and that is a problem, and that is something we need to work with. The culture, and it's a difficult or a different political climate also, I must say. Like I've been looking at the stages here and see like 2 or 3 state secretaries in the same stage. That would never, ever, ever happen in Sweden. That would not be done in Swedish politics. So we have different ways of doing things, and we have to like understand them. And some things are easier to solve than others. I don't have the answer to why it's that way in the business, but we need to find solutions about it, and maybe we should start talking about it then.
That's great, thanks. We are 5 minutes to lunch, and I do not want to make anybody late for lunch. So I am going to give the word to our panelists each. They are allowed a one-sentence takeaway. So this is your tweet, or your X, I don't know what they're calling them these days. But the question I would like you to answer in one sentence is, what are the next steps that you see as necessary to ensure that local and regional needs are taken seriously? Esa, you're up.
we need more cooperation in northern areas.
Perfect. More cooperation.
I said this yesterday. I think we need a top meeting with the regional and local and national levels of the north.
I think the three governments should found the Arctic Base Forum.
One meeting in every month to share information.
I think the next step is to actually develop our common transportation system. That is the way for the governments to show us that they take our difficulties and issues seriously. Yeah.
Thanks, Marie.
As Oran Young said yesterday, it's important, the relations between individuals, so we have to meet.
I think that's a perfect note to end this session on. It really comes down to cooperation and talking and transportation of people, goods, ideas for our common security. I want to thank you, our audience, for being so interactive. It's really great. Please join me in giving our wonderful panelists a hand. Thank you so much.